The hallway was supposed to be a place of casual chatter and the soft shuffle of students heading to their next class. But on that day, it became a war zone. The sound of laughter wasn't friendly, it was sharp, cruel, and aimed like arrows at a single target. Miss Lila Carter, the shy new English teacher, was walking quickly, clutching a stack of books to her chest, trying to avoid eye contact. Her soft blue dress, a gift from her late mother, flowed gently as she moved, the only bright spot against the dull gray lockers. She never saw it coming. A sudden tug, the sound of ripping fabric, and gasps echoed down the hallway. Her books tumbled to the floor as she clutched at the shredded fabric. The laughter rose louder, harsher, like a wave determined to drown her dignity. But the next thing that happened would leave the bullies stunned, the students silent, and the school forever remembering the day Miss Carter stopped being the quiet teacher and became a symbol of courage. If you believe kindness is stronger than cruelty, and that second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, subscribe to Ripple of Hope, and comment below about a time when you saw courage change everything. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Lila Carter wasn't always shy. There was a time, not long ago, when her laugh would fill a room, and her confidence could steady anyone's nerves. But grief has a way of hollowing people out, and when her mother passed away suddenly, Lila felt as though her voice had been buried with her. Moving to a new city for her first teaching job was supposed to be a fresh start, but the weight of loneliness clung to her like a shadow. The school was large, with long corridors and unfamiliar faces. Most students were polite, some distant, but there were a few who seemed to sniff out weakness like wolves hunting for prey. They didn't see the hours she spent planning lessons or the way her hands trembled slightly when she wrote on the board. They only saw someone they could break. The bullies were a small group of seniors who thought they owned the school. Their leader, a boy named Tyler, had the kind of arrogance that comes from never being told no. The first few weeks, their cruelty was subtle, snickers when she turned her back, whispers in the corners, an occasional sarcastic comment about her little dresses, or quaint handwriting. Lila tried to ignore it, convincing herself that if she stayed quiet and kind, it would pass. But cruelty, when left unchecked, grows bold. The day of the incident began like any other. She had just finished teaching an intense poetry discussion, the kind that actually lit a few sparks of interest in her students' eyes. She was walking to the staff room when she saw Tyler and his friends loitering in the hallway. Something in their smirks made her instinctively clutch her books tighter. She tried to pass quickly, but a sudden, deliberate yank caught the hem of her dress. The ripping sound felt louder than the bell that had just rung. Her cheeks burned, her breath caught, and the laughter around her echoed like a cruel chant. She dropped to her knees to gather her books, desperate to cover the tear, but her hands shook so badly she could barely hold anything. Then something inside her shifted. Maybe it was months of staying silent, maybe it was the memory of her mother telling her as a child, never let anyone make you small, or maybe it was the final straw of seeing Tyler's smug, triumphant face. Lila stood up slowly, set her books down with care, and turned to face them. The hallway went strangely quiet as her eyes locked on Tyler's. What no one at that school knew was that before becoming a teacher, Lila had trained in karate for years, a skill she'd abandoned after her mother's death, thinking she'd never need it again. But muscle memory is a powerful thing. When Tyler stepped closer, mocking her, Lila's body reacted before her mind could catch up. In one fluid motion, her hand sliced through the air, connecting with just enough force to send him stumbling back into a locker. Gasps erupted from the crowd. His friends froze, their laughter gone, replaced with stunned silence. Tyler's face went pale, and for the first time, he looked small. Lila didn't shout, didn't threaten, didn't even gloat. She simply picked up her books, held her head high, and walked down the hallway with the ripped dress fluttering like a battle flag. Every step was a declaration that she would no longer be their victim. But the days that followed weren't easy. Rumors spread faster than wildfire, twisting the truth into wild versions of the event. Some students looked at her with newfound respect, others avoided her altogether. The principal called her in, torn between school policy and quiet admiration. Even Tyler's parents showed up, demanding an apology. Lila refused, not out of spite, but because she knew this wasn't just about her dress or a hallway fight. It was about drawing a line no one dared cross again. And then something unexpected happened. A girl from one of her classes, someone who'd always sat at the back with her hoodie pulled tight, approached her after school. Her voice was barely above a whisper as she said, "Thank you for standing up to them. They've been bothering me for months." That moment, Lila realized her courage had rippled outward. Students began speaking up more, reporting harassment, and supporting one another. The bullies, once so confident, started shrinking into the background. Tyler even approached her weeks later, awkwardly muttering an apology before hurrying away. It wasn't perfect, but it was change. By the end of the year, the quiet new teacher had become someone else entirely. She smiled more. She laughed again. And every time she walked down that hallway, she didn't think about the day her dress was torn, she thought about the day she decided her voice, her strength, and her dignity were worth protecting. She kept teaching with the same kindness, but now there was steel in her spine and fire in her heart. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. And before you go, comment below, have you ever found unexpected courage when you needed it most? Your stories could inspire someone else to stand tall.